Hey, what's up, everybody? Tapping in for another court chat. Today, I just wanted to touch on something, voids and, chasing the potential dragon of trying to fill those voids. I have had several voids in my life that I've tried to fill with various things that weren't coming from myself. With substances, maybe with people or relationships. There's been things absent in my world that I was longing for that I didn't know really where to search for. And ultimately, the answer was all right here. I just had to admit that that was a problem and then allow myself to be strong enough to provide a solution. It sounds crazy, but it really was that simple for me. Various voids that I've had, addiction, again, filling them with people or otherwise. Answers here. I just have to acknowledge that there's a problem and allow myself to find the solution. So again, with acknowledging that problem, sometimes it's really hard to identify what the void is, because maybe saying it out loud and potentially coming to terms with what that actual void is, it could be embarrassing. It might be so easy to spot, but difficult to say out loud. That's where the dilemma is. Again, at some point in my life, I was in a parking lot talking to more mature women, for seeking something that a connection that I was absent in apparent. There was no real physical desire. The communication didn't even really cross those lanes. It was just more of, again, seeking that particular connection because it was something that I was absent and particularly longing for from somebody that I felt like I should be getting that from. If that makes sense, hopefully you can understand. I didn't have the best relationship with my mother, so I was trying to supplement that relationship without really identifying why I was seeking these particular things. It might be something so simple, but again, to say it out loud might trigger you. You know what I'm saying? To be like, no, there's no way that I'm that weak. There's no way that that's what it is. But yeah, dude, some of the habits that I had, I guess you could say that they were chasing voids, but it was just a void of trying to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Trying to live a little. Remember, I took on a ton of responsibility early on in my life. So, again, in your youth, dodging responsibility is something that you try and do on the guise of having fun, Those were easy to quit for me too, because whatever my real responsibilities and priorities were more important than potentially trying to fill my voids with this other thing. Again, with physical connection and seeking out, unnecessary videos to supplement something synthetic that I wasn't maybe getting in reality. I probably was, but for some reason the satisfaction was off. And that was probably stemming from something that I was disappointed with in myself. Again, though I could party, I didn't really necessarily enjoy it. It was just part of the social interaction that I was in. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it was definitely fun and something that I wanted to do. Sometimes it just got to be too much, but that was the kind of social circle that I was in at the time, and I guess I wasn't ready to leave under whatever the circumstances were. So those voids were kind of easy, but this one in particular, again, the relationship that I had with my mother versus what it could have been from maybe trying on both sides. Again, we grew up in different times. I can't explain it from her side. I'm sure, I wasn't the best kid. But like there was also things that I did as a child to help my mother in ways that were far beyond whatever my responsibility as a child were. You know, and I took them on with pride. I was happy to help my mom. So much so, like I begged her in certain situations to like let me do these things for her, and she couldn't relinquish to see the benefit of what I'm offering. And it's unfortunate because, you know, at some point she reached back out and asked me for these things, and it's like, well, my situation's changed, honey, and not only that, the environment that we're in is no longer the same. So some of these ideas that were applicable, I don't know, 5 years ago, don't hold the same weight and value in this current climate and environment. And those are things that are way outside of the scope of my control, you know? So, and then it's like, at that time, like I gotta say no, because I've had to put things in play to make sure that I could solidify my situation, because, you know, I've reached out and asked for help and have been denied as well. So when you're dealing with those interactions with family, friends, you know, or intimate partners, like if you can't in those particular situations, you're gonna have to say no. Because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that your ship is not taking on water before you can really help anybody else out. You know, you can't hitch your ship to a sinking ship and have both ships go down. If somebody that you're trying to swim out to save and rescue isn't listening to you and they just keep flailing around, you can both drown, or you might have to swim away and let them succumb to their own decisions. It's unfortunate. It sucks to watch. It is what it is, though. It's not your particular burden or responsibility to bear. But, you know, again, back to filling these voids. So you're gonna have to take a look inward at yourself. Again, for me, when I was partying and probably seeking these videos that might have been, you know, synthetically satisfying to some niche degree, but not really. I don't know about you, but sometimes, like, after I would watch those particular videos and finish with myself, like the overwhelming feeling wasn't necessarily good. Like it was a temporary satisfaction, but there was still a little, you know, like about it, because that's not even what you really want. It's an acceptance and something that you're willing to tolerate for what you actually want. And those things are rarely satisfying. That's why it becomes an indulgent, and you seek to keep engaging in that. Even though it becomes slightly less and less satisfying, that's where you're getting your dopamine hit from. So like it's a weird double-edged sword that can be difficult to navigate your way out of. But once you, again, identify it as a problem and you really choose to find a solution, there's other ways to fill these voids. Again, like the work that I'm doing now for myself, the work that I'm doing for my people around me is I'm building steam, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting a little bit of traction. People are actually joining the Wagey train, so I appreciate that. You know, and if there's anything that you would like for me to expound on, feel free to reach out. My contact information is all over the place. You know, and like, I want to encourage people to be better, display that I'm willing to take it on, you know, that responsibility, and encourage you and show you how to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Like and again, just sharing these particular experiences. Some people might have had that, but they didn't really identify it. Like it took me a while to actually come to grips with it. And like, this is probably the first time I'm sharing it, you know, with anybody to any real degree, because like that was a big one for me. And it was an aspect of my life for probably, 15 years, you know, like, and I wanted to have that connection with my mom, dude. It's like, I love my mom, guilty as charged, but at the same time, like, I had to learn to appreciate me better. I told you in my video speaking about, growing up without a dad and some of the things that I had to come to accept, like those weren't healthy for me as a man. You know what I'm saying? Like shaking that shit was difficult. That took me the majority of my life. Like I'm what, 36 now? You know what I'm saying? And like I just got over this stuff like a couple of years ago. So finally I was like, fuck it, dude. If my help is really that bad, like I'm just gonna help me. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I'd done it for everybody else for so long, and it's like, it's freeing, it's refreshing, it's so light once you get to just, and this is what I'm saying, like carrying your own burden is easy. There shouldn't be anything easier than that, man. It's when you're out here trying to save everybody else, trying to save people trying to fill your void, saving other people, because you're not really doing the work that it takes to save yourself. You know what I'm saying? And to like be fruitful and prosperous for yourself. I'd admit that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was bad, because like part of that substance abuse, part of some of those satisfaction seeking tendencies is to again fill that space or distract you from where these particular voids are. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a vicious cycle, dog. But again, once you find your way out of it, not to say that I don't have voids anymore. I was talking with my dad about this. It's not to say that I don't have these voids anymore. They're not as loud. They're no longer as loud as they used to be. They're not consuming who I am as a person. I'll always want a better relationship with my mom, but I can't control other people. You know what I mean? It's not overwhelming. It's no longer overwhelming. It's no longer consuming. It's something that I accept. It's something that has started to heal. Because that's what they are. It's scars. It's pain that you can't really point to. That's the shit that hurts the most. Those are what voids really are. They suck. But again, there's ways that you can go about healing yourself. You can heal these voids. You can quell the hunger for those voids. Are you going to do it? Are you going to start taking care of yourself? Be a better you. I dare you to try it. I dare you to try being a better you, addressing those problems, and taking steps to quell and fill those voids. That's the challenge that I leave to you. And on that note, Wagey's out.